What if I told you that a Russian submarine crew once guided an Iranian Kilo-class submarine to fire 2 torpedoes at USS Gerald R. Ford, while Chinese satellites fed them targeting data in real time? March 7, 2026. 3:47 a.m. Strait of Hormuz. 400 feet beneath the Persian Gulf, an Iranian Kilo-class submarine running silent prepared to fire. But the commander wasn't Iranian. Captain Viktor Sokolov, Russian Navy, 22 years commanding diesel submarines, stood beside the Iranian captain, watching the sonar display. Target bearing 094. Range 11,500 meters. It's the Ford. Fire when ready. Above them, a Chinese Yaogan 35 reconnaissance satellite transmitted encrypted targeting updates every 90 seconds, carrier position, course, speed. Escort formation. This wasn't Iran attacking America alone. This was Russia providing expertise, China providing intelligence, and Iran providing the weapon. A coalition strike against the world's most powerful aircraft carrier. But here's what Moscow and Beijing didn't know: the Americans had been listening to every word spoken inside that submarine for the past 14 hours. Have you ever wondered what happens when 3 nations coordinate to kill an American carrier, and the carrier knew they were coming the entire time? Stay with me. Because in the next 2 hours, a coalition submarine attack is going to fail catastrophically. Russian ships are going to sink alongside Iranian boats. And China is going to learn that providing intelligence makes you a combatant. Let's descend into the trap. March 6, 3:47 p.m. Bandar Abbas Submarine Base. The Iranian Kilo-class submarine Terek prepared to sortie with an unusual addition to her crew, 4 Russian naval officers. Captain Viktor Sokolov had commanded Kilo submarines in the Baltic and Black Sea for 2 decades. His presence aboard Terek was technically advisory. Officially, he was training Iranian submariners. Unofficially, he was commanding the attack. The Americans believe their carriers are untouchable, Sokolov told the Iranian crew through a translator. Tonight, we prove them wrong. The mission was clear: USS Gerald R. Ford would transit the strait in 12 hours. Chinese satellite intelligence confirmed her route. Terek would position in ambush, wait for the Ford to enter range, and fire. 2 torpedoes. Point-blank range. 1 target. Think about that coordination. Russian expertise. Chinese intelligence. Iranian execution. Would you trust that plan? 4:15 p.m. 180 miles east, Chinese surveillance ship. The plan research vessel Shiryan 6 sat in international waters, its intelligence collection suite monitoring everything in the Persian Gulf. Commander Liu Wei watched satellite feeds from Yaogan 35 overhead. American carrier group entering the strait approach. Transmit updated coordinates to Iranian contact every 90 seconds. Encrypted burst transmission. China wouldn't fire a shot. But they'd provide targeting data so precise the Iranians couldn't miss. And if the attack succeeded? Beijing could deny everything. If it failed? They were just conducting scientific research. 4:30 p.m. 60 miles northwest, Russian corvette formation. 3 Russian corvettes, Stoiky, Subrazitelny, and Staragushchi, maintained station under the guise of routine naval exercises. Their actual mission: provide anti-submarine warfare screening for Terek after the attack. If American submarines counterattacked, Russian ships would intervene with torpedoes and depth charges. Moscow's calculus was simple: protect the Kilo long enough for it to escape. Then claim the Russian ships were defending themselves from American aggression. The coalition had thought of everything. Except one detail: the U.S. Navy had been watching them assemble for 3 days. 7:47 p.m. P-8A Poseidon, 25,000 feet. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Rodriguez piloted the maritime patrol aircraft along the strait's northern edge. Her mission: seed the waters with sonar buoys before the Kilo could position for attack. Over the next 4 hours, her crew dropped 140 acoustic sensors in an overlapping grid covering 60 square miles, passive buoys listening, active buoys pinging. A net so dense it could hear a submarine breathing. Grid complete, her sensor operator reported. If anything diesel-electric enters this box, we'll know. Can you imagine building a trap that precise? 140 sensors. 60 square miles. And the enemy has no idea it exists. 11:47 p.m. The passive sonar buoy designated Delta 7 detected a faint acoustic signature. Diesel-electric propulsion. Distinctive Kilo-class machinery noise. Depth, 380 feet. Speed, 3 knots. Contact. Bearing 112. Designate hostile submarine 1. Transmitting to Ford. Aboard USS Gerald R. Ford's Combat Information Center, the contact appeared on tactical displays instantly. Admiral Catherine Mercer studied the plot. So they actually did it. Russian advisors annul. Her intelligence officer nodded. NSA intercepted encrypted transmissions from a Chinese satellite to that submarine 20 minutes ago. Targeting data. This is a coordinated attack. Mercer's face was stone. Let them position. Let them think they're invisible. And the moment they flood torpedo tubes, we kill them. Think about that decision. She could have destroyed the submarine immediately. Instead, she let it get closer, to prove coalition warfare had happened. Because when you sink a submarine with Russian crew aboard, you need justification. 3:30 a.m. aboard Terek, 400 feet deep. Captain Sokolov listened to passive sonar through headphones, hearing the distinctive sound of American nuclear propulsion. Bearing 094. Range 11,500 meters. Target is the carrier. Course steady. Speed 16 knots. The Iranian captain looked nervous. Should we verify with Chinese satellite? Sokolov shook his head. No transmissions. We're silent. But the data was clear. Ford is exactly where Beijing said she'd be. He checked his watch. Prepare tubes 1 and 2. We fire in 2 minutes. Above them, 2 MH-60R Seahawk helicopters hovered silently, dipping sonars locked onto Tereka's exact position. They'd been there for 26 minutes. Waiting. 3:47 a.m. Flood tubes 1 and 2. The sound of compressed air and rushing water echoed through the submarine. 12 miles away, every American hydrophone heard it. Hostile 1 flooding torpedo tubes. Weapons launch imminent. Admiral Mercer's voice was ice. All units, weapons free. Kill that submarine. Sokolov gave the order, fire 1. Fire 2. 2 test, 71 torpedoes ejected from Terek, motors igniting, accelerating toward USS Ford at 40 knots. But USS Ford's N/SLQ-25 Nixie acoustic decoy had already deployed, broadcasting a perfect replica of the carrier's propeller signature. Both Iranian torpedoes locked onto the Ghost. They chased it for 8 minutes, then ran out of fuel and sank. 0 hits. 0 damage. 3:49 a.m. The 2 Seahawks had been waiting for this moment. Vampire, this is Hunter 1. We have firing solution on hostile 1. Engaging. For -54 Malawian Kwacha's lightweight torpedoes dropped into the water, parachutes deploying, active sonar pinging. Aboard Terek, the sonar operator screamed, torpedoes in the water. For contacts. Active sonar. Range 2,000 meters. Sokolov's face went white. How did they? Emergency blow. Maximum speed. Deploy countermeasures. But Kilo submarines are slow. And -54 Malawian Kwacha's torpedoes are relentless. The first torpedo struck Tereka's engine compartment at 3:51 a.m. The explosion tore a 15-foot gash in the pressure hull. Seawater flooded at 80,000 gallons per minute. The second torpedo hit 9 seconds later. Terek imploded at 420 feet. 52 Iranian sailors died instantly, including Captain Sokolov and 3 other Russian advisors. Moscow had sent them to guide an attack on an American carrier. Now they were entombed 420 feet beneath the Gulf. Think about that horror. You guide an attack. It fails. And you die alongside the crew you were supposed to save. 4:02 a.m. When Tereka's acoustic signature vanished, the 3 Russian corvettes 40 miles away knew what had happened. Captain Mikhail Petrov aboard Stoiky made a decision that would cost him his ship. American helicopters just sank our submarine. We defend our allies. All ships, engage American surface contacts with anti-ship missiles. 3 corvettes fired 12 Iran anti-ship missiles total, Russian-made, Russian-fired, at American destroyers. It was the first direct Russian attack on U.S. naval forces in 80 years. And it would be the last thing those corvettes ever did. 4:03 a.m. Aboard USS Delbert D. Black, the Aegis combat system detected 12 incoming missiles and calculated firing solutions on all 3 Russian corvettes simultaneously. Sir, Russian ships have fired on us. Row? The captain's voice was steady, weapons free. Sink them all. 24 SM-6 missiles erupted from vertical launch cells. The SM-6 is a dual-mode weapon, anti-air and anti-surface. It can kill missiles in flight and ships on the water. Half the missiles engaged the incoming Irans. All 12 Russian missiles destroyed. The other half engaged the corvettes. At 4:04 a.m. Russian corvette Stoiky took 4 SM-6 hits amidships. The ship broke in half and sank in 90 seconds. Subrazytelny and Starogushchi attempted evasive maneuvers. Too slow. 8 more SM-6s struck. Both corvettes exploded and capsized. In 67 seconds, Russia's entire Persian Gulf naval presence ceased to exist. Coalition losses: 1 submarine, 52 Iranian plus 4 Russian Kia, 3 corvettes, 187 Russian Kia. American losses: 0. 7:47 a.m. Chinese surveillance ship Shiryan, 6. Commander Liu Wei watched satellite feeds showing burning Russian ships. His intelligence vessel had provided targeting data for the submarine attack. Now he watched the consequences. Then his radar operator shouted, "Incoming aircraft. Low altitude. Fast movers." 4 B-1B Lancer bombers appeared on radar at 50 miles, descending to 500 feet. Liu Wei's blood froze. They wouldn't, we're in international waters. We're unarmed. Each B-1B carried 24 GBU, 54 JDAM bombs. The American strike wasn't designed to sink the ship. It was designed to send a message. 96 precision weapons struck the water in a perfect circle around Shiryan, 6, 800 meters radius, not a single bomb closer than 500 meters. The explosions created water columns 200 feet high, rocking the Chinese ship violently. Then the B-1BS flew directly overhead at 400 feet, sonic boom shattering windows, shaking the entire vessel. Commander Liu Wei understood the message instantly: "We know you provided intelligence. Next time, the bombs won't miss." China had enabled the attack. America just proved they could sink Chinese ships anytime they wanted, but chose mercy this time. Would you provide intelligence for the next attack after that demonstration? 9:47 a.m. 40 Tomahawk cruise missiles launched from 4 American destroyers. Targets: Bandar Abbas submarine base, 18 Tomahawks. Dry docks destroyed. Maintenance facilities obliterated. Torpedo storage. Massive secondary explosions. Russian Naval Liaison Office, Bandar Abbas. 8 Tomahawks. Building penetrated and destroyed. 14 Russian advisors killed. Message: advising attacks equals being attacked. Chinese satellite ground station. Eastern Iran, 6 Tomahawks. Communications facility destroyed. Message: providing targeting data equals legitimate target. Iranian coastal radar sites. 8 Tomahawks. Iran's eyes permanently closed. In 22 minutes, American cruise missiles erased the infrastructure that enabled coalition warfare. An Iranian submarine fired 2 torpedoes at USS Gerald R. Ford. Russian advisors guided the attack. Chinese satellites provided targeting data. Both torpedoes missed. The final count: coalition attack. 1 Kilo submarine, Russian guided, 2 torpedoes fired. Chinese satellite targeting, updates every 90 seconds, 3 Russian corvettes, defensive. Intervention, coalition losses: Kilo submarine Terek, sunk, 52 Iranian plus 4 Russian Kia. 3 Russian corvettes, sunk, 187 Russian Kia. Total: 243 Kia. Chinese surveillance ship, intimidated, 96 bombs in warning circle. Submarine base, destroyed. Russian liaison office. Destroyed. Chinese ground station, destroyed. American losses: 0 torpedoes hit. 0 ships damaged. 0 casualties. This is what happens when 3 nations coordinate to attack an American carrier, and fail. Russia provided expertise. Their advisors died inside the submarine they guided. China provided intelligence. Their surveillance ship got surrounded by 96 explosions as a warning. Iran provided the weapon. Their submarine base was reduced to rubble. And USS Gerald R. Ford? Never changed course. Not 1 degree. Not 1 knot. Do you think coalition warfare makes America's enemies stronger? Or does it just create more targets when the attack fails? What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The coalition coordinated. The torpedoes missed. The submarine sank. The Russian corvettes followed. And everyone learned that attacking American carriers, even with 3 nations working together, only works if you survive the response. Which they didn't.